This address, Honorable Speaker, as I said, was not just pursuant to a constitutional obligation or the president fulfilling his constitutional mandate, but it was a profound articulation of resilience. The resilience not just of his administration, but the people of Kenya. The resilience that have seen us walk through, as I said, periods of drought, periods of global economic uncertainty and economic pressures in a way that our nation has emerged stronger. And you remember the president expounding how much many people and many pundits and many skeptics expected that our own economy would not survive beyond 6 months after the 2022 elections. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, it is said there is a leader who convened a meeting in somewhere in Ongata, Rongai, or around Rongai, political leader, and prophesied that there would be an election in Kenya in a period not exceeding 6 months, because this country was going to collapse and the economy was going to collapse. And indeed, that is a dire situation that we were in. You remember, even as clueless as the former deputy president was, during the handover of government, at least he had to say it, that we have found empty coffers, as much as today he lies otherwise. But he said it as it was then, that the coffers were not just empty, they were completely empty. And you heard the president expound how in 2022 our foreign exchange reserves had fallen to the lowest they had ever fallen since the founding of our nation. And today, almost doubled the reserves that we had. That we have been able to stabilize our foreign exchange, Honorable Speaker, to the region of 128, 129. That amidst all those economic pressures and the global uncertainties that were there, Honorable Speaker, with peers in our region and across Africa defaulting on their public debt obligations, Kenya stood firm, and we continue to meet our public debt obligations, even with difficulty, but we meet our public debt obligations, Honorable Speaker. And this story, Honorable Speaker, of resilience, this story of a responsible administration that is focused on not only achieving our national ambitions, is also a story that was told of where our country is and where it is moving towards, Honorable Speaker. And I keenly listened to His Excellency the President, Honorable Speaker, and I must thank him because he did appreciate the role that Parliament and parliamentarians in the 13th Assembly have played in ensuring that we maintain our nation as a steady nation in an otherwise volatile region, an uncertain global economy, and the huge responsibility that have been bestowed on members of Parliament in both houses, Honorable Speaker, because there are many bills that we have processed that have had to be processed through both houses. And in acknowledging the role that this Parliament has played, Honorable Speaker, that we have been bold to make the right decisions at the right time, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when the President spoke here about the high priests of pessimism, Honorable Speaker, it doesn't mean that they will not always be there. They will always be there. There will be high priests of eternal pessimism. We will have high priests also of eternal lies, and we know them. And we also have high priests of eternal negativity, Honorable Speaker. And when the President commended the 13th Parliament for our boldness and our courage to confront the challenges of our times, Honorable Speaker, it was a very emotional time for me because I couldn't help but remember the events of the year 2024 and the unfortunate incidents around the finance bill of June 2024. Honorable Speaker, because I am always very truthful, I have always told Kenyans that they were lied to. And because lies always travel faster than the truth, it is said, Honorable Speaker, by the time the truth wakes up, the lies have traveled half the world, I'm told.
Actually, the correct phrase is that before the truth starts tying its shoelaces, the lie has traveled halfway around the world.
Before the truth wakes up, the lie has traveled half the globe. And indeed, that is the situation we found ourselves in, Honorable Speaker. That by the time we were going out to tell the Kenyan people the truth of the provisions of the Finance Bill of 2024, the lies had completely whitewashed the truth. I had an incident this Sunday, Honorable Speaker, where a young man from Kino approached me on Sunday after church. And I showed him messages he had sent me during that period, and he had come to me for help. And I asked him, tell me what was your problem with the Finance Bill 2024. He could not articulate a single thing. He only told me I was opposed to the 18% increase of VAT. I went to the bill, I told him, please show me where that 18% VAT was being increased. And he couldn't find it. But that is the tragedy of misinformation and disinformation that our country suffers today. And I'm saying this, Honorable Speaker, because these members suffered insults, were vilified for taking bold steps to do what was right. And I remember saying on this podium, Honorable Speaker, that it is not necessarily true that what is popular is right. And not all that is right is popular. But this parliament chose to do what was right for our country, and that is why today we have that story that the president was speaking to, a story of resilience, a story of faith in our country, a story of sacrifice, huge sacrifices by the people of Kenya, by farmers in Kenya, Honorable Speaker, who today are feeding our nation and reducing the burden of our foreign exchange that we have to cough out to buy food or to import food, be it maize that our farmers are producing, be it those farmers who are producing sugar for us along the sugar belts of Western Kenya, Nyanza, and the coast region of our country, Honorable Speaker, that this story of resilience and sacrifice is a story that permeates in every household across our country, Honorable Speaker. And that is not to say we are there yet, Honorable Speaker. And the President did allude to that fact, that we are not yet there. That we must continue to make bold and courageous decisions to move our nation forward, Honorable Speaker. That as he has always said, it is indeed true that it is possible within our lifetime to be able to transition this country and our economy from a third world country to a first world country, Honorable Speaker. And at least it's good I had, Honorable Speaker, over the weekend, those who have no agenda, those who have no policies to expound to the people of Kenya, those who speak boldly in funerals over the weekends, Honorable Speaker, at least had content this weekend. But I was waiting to hear, since the President has intent and the will and the determination to move our country from being a third world to a first world country, and he clearly stipulated what we need to do and call on us as the House of Representatives to work with him and work with the Kenyan people as we move our country from the third to the first world, Honorable Speaker. And he was clear in his plan, Honorable Speaker, including the setting up of the infrastructure fund and how we will innovatively fund that infrastructure fund to be able to leverage on it to raise more capital to roll out development projects that will indeed transition our country from a third to a first world, whether it is in the provision of water, for irrigation, to ensure that we are producing adequate food for our country and even be able to export food from our country. Whether it is in the rollout of dual carriage roads, whether it's from Rironi to Mau Summit, from Marua all the way to Nanyuki, Isiolo,